Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to look at the Bauer 8-inch bench grinder with belt sander. I just picked that up today from Harbor Freight. And the heavy duty grinder Pedestal. I picked that up for the 60 bucks I paid for it because it seems like a pretty solid stand. It's nice to have the cup, the water trough, water tray at the base for while you're grinding. So we'll give that a shot, see how it works out. And I need to get my grinder belt sander off of my table saw because it's getting grit all over the place and metal. So this isn't really going to be a hardcore review, product review. This is just kind of an overview of what's in the box, how everything goes together. If anything needs to be purchased separately, put it together. And that's about it. Any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And yeah, sit back and enjoy. Here we go. So we start off here with the unboxing of the Central Machinery bench grinder Pedestal. Picked it up from Harbor Freight the other day for $59.99. And it's ironic because on the website it says compared to Jet model 577172 at $179.99. And as you see, there's really no comparison. For the price, it's not horrible, but as I will get into later on, it's not very high quality as far as fit and finish. Now, finish is good. Don't get me wrong there, but the fit is terrible. I would say something has changed from when they started producing these to where they're at now. I'd imagine it's in this 3-inch pipe. The wall thickness is super thin. And in case you've never seen directions from Harbor Freight, here you go. This is just kind of to explain how things go together. And don't mind the stink eye I occasionally give the camera, because I have a new GoPro that I'm using instead of my Sony cameras for garage use. Here I'm showing off the basin holder, which you can put water in for cooling off your parts as you grind the crap out of them. Base plate that the grinder mounts to. And the bag of assorted bolts that are M10 by 1.5 threads per centimeter, I believe is how that works. But here's an example of the poor fit that this post has in the base. There's 3 bolts that secure it in place, and I frankly would not rely on them to hold the grinder in place by themselves. Even if you were to crank them down, you'll end up crushing the tubing, and I frankly don't think it's going to be a good experience. I would expect this pipe to just slide in with a fairly snug fit. And then here is the basin holder that will go on before you put the grinder base on. And I wanted to put it upside down because you can see there's this recess in the casting that I thought would be, hey, it'd be good for small parts to throw them on there while you're grinding so they don't roll away or you lose them. But towards the end, I ended up just flipping it over. But here it's just not very secure. And then as the grinder base goes on with one bolt to hold it in place, and it just doesn't sit flat. It's not the top of the pipe, the tubing, it's this base itself, the casting where the tubing sits. It's a radius edge on the shoulder, and it just won't sit flat. So here's me getting back into the directions to say, hey, what am I doing wrong? Because this is not going together snugly. Not seeing anything. Oh, dramatic sigh. And throw them on the bench. Well, I gotta say, out of the box, I am not too impressed with, not so much, well, I guess the build quality. I didn't expect it to be an incredibly high dollar, high quality item, being as it's just a stand from Central Machinery, but it's just a lack of stability. I haven't tightened anything down yet because I don't like how the top of the pedestal, it doesn't sit flat to begin with. The casting that this top plate is made out of is, the edges are kind of rounded inside here, and I don't know, it almost sits on the very edge of an inner lip that's inside here. I know it's hard to see on the video. There's a hole in the front side, but that wouldn't yeah, if I had a lathe, I would, or a mill. Well, a mill would be tricky. But if I could machine this down on the inside, let's get a little better look down here. So if you can see inside here, this shoulder in here, that post sits, this diameter, inner diameter, is considerably smaller than the outer diameter of this post. So it doesn't sit flat in there. This is a fairly poor design. Same with the base, also has that same shoulder in here, and it's built like a cheap Christmas tree stand. I don't know. And the other side is this inner diameter, it's definitely tapered on the base. And this top portion, it might be tapered, but maybe not. But it's got a radiused edge inside here. And the same over here. So frankly, I would need a thicker pipe, I think, to fit inside this diameter. All right, so let's check diameters here. If I can get a rough size here. We'll check close to the top of the opening. So I'm getting roughly 3.17 inches. And then this pipe, this tubing that comes with it is, oh, considerably smaller. So it's over 0.17. It's well over 1/8 of an inch, because this is roughly, it's almost exactly 3 inches, the outside dimension here. Oh yeah, it's well over 1/8 of an inch. 0.16, so 3.16, so it's 1/8 of an inch. On the top, and I think 3.17, 3.18. Yeah, that does start. It is tapered to the inside. So the base is also towards the top of the opening, 3.17. So they're the same size. The depth looks deeper on the top plate. It's 1.28, so roughly 1.25 inches to the shoulder. And this is 1.42, almost just shy of 1.5 inches, 1 3/8, 1.5 inches into here. So the big problem, aside from the taper in here, is the fact that this tubing is so much smaller, and we only have one bolt that will go through to hold this in place, and it doesn't sit flat because it's riding on this radius edge. Again, if I had equipment to do it, I could just mill that shoulder square, and then this would sit perfectly flat. So I may end up having to grind it down to give this a flat surface to sit on, or possibly weld something to this that'll sit flat. It's just not, it doesn't sit flat. Again, same with this. So if you're looking for something out of the box, super stable, this is not it. And again, this dimension here is probably the same as these castings, so it's 3.136. 3.136 for the basin holder. So I'm guessing this tubing, I would imagine, is sourced possibly from different companies. Maybe they have different tubes, pipe that they get with this. So maybe another option would be possibly getting, I don't know if I can get a 3-inch pipe that's 3 heavy. It would have to be like a 3 1/8 inch. Maybe at one time they had a 3 1/8 that would slide into here and fit tightly. So the base I can make work because it does have the 3 points to mount. I think I can make that work. I don't like it because this is such thin wall tubing. And then this, yeah, again, for 60 bucks, it's not awful, but this is frankly a deal breaker. If you want this to work out of the box, this is gonna do nothing but frustrate you. So I'll see what I can come up with. Maybe I can weld spacers onto the outside of this tube. Might be a possibility. And then give me something solid to drill through from 4 different angles, 4 different points. Same thing with this. I need to figure out, again, if I can find maybe a sleeve, if I can source some pipe that would fit in here snugly, and then I can weld this to that sleeve of pipe, drop it in, and then actually thread and tap, or drill and tap these bolts to hold everything securely. That would work out. So let me mess around with this and see what I can figure out.